Hello, this is a training video on how to enter life events related to benefits into isolved. Employees will have access to enter most of their life events through isolved that will pend approval for the employer, also known as the client user, to then review and approve. However, there are certain life events that only the employer, also known as the client user, can enter for their employees. Most life event windows open the date of the event and will be open for 30 days. For example, if a child is born today, the enrollment window would open today and be open for 30 days. More information on specific life events can be found on the isolved benefit education materials document provided by Simcoe. If you need this document, please reach out to your HCM specialist. First, we're going to have a look at how a client user can enter a life event into isolved. You would use these life events if your employee was either becoming benefit eligible or losing eligibility based on your benefit eligibility structure. The two most common life events for a client user to enter would be an employment category change, which would be a change in employment status, full-time to part-time or part-time to full-time. Second would be change in normal hours. The employment hours have changed where now an employee is benefit eligible or ineligible based on their hours worked. For our first example, we're going to be using change in normal hours life event. This employee is going to be going from 20 hours to 32 hours per week. And 32 hours are the hours required to become benefit eligible. You're going to navigate to employee management, employee pay, salary. On the salary tab in isolved, this is where we create salary changes, which also include normal hours. These salary changes are used to trigger a change in normal hours life event. And this step is very important if your benefit eligibility is based off of hours worked. It is also important to note that normal hours are based off of your payroll run schedule. In this example, the company is biweekly. So we're entering 64 hours because this employee is now working 32 hours a week. So we want to add new. Whatever the effective date is, again, you can have it be before, today, after. The only thing that's going to affect is how long the employee has to be able to go in and edit their benefits. We're going to change normal hours to 64. If you want to update anything else, you most certainly can. And then you want to click Create Change in Normal Hours Life Event Record. Save. Clicking that and saving is what's going to send the notification to the employee that they are now eligible to edit their benefits in isolved due to a life event. If you forget to click Create a Normal Hours Life Event Record, you can follow the manual process I will show shortly. And as a reminder, you always want to add new. You don't want to edit because editing can cause issues with deductions, tracking, reporting, so on. Okay, next we're going to do the employment category life event. Here you're going to want to navigate to employee management, employee maintenance, employment. So this person is part-time, going full-time. We want to add new. The employment period is just as however long that they've been working. The effective date, again, can be previous, can be today, can be in the future, but best practice is to do earlier, the better. The longer you wait, more issues you may have that come up. Employment category, we are moving them to full-time. And again, here's where it pops up. Create change in employment category life event record. We want to click that box and save. Once we save, again, notification of an email is going to be going to the employee, letting them know that they are now benefit eligible and can go into the system to elect their benefits. This is going to look like this. So the employee will log into their system and they will have a life event benefits window that's open. There will be a message here for your company, and then they'll be eligible for whichever benefits they're eligible for, elect, waive, and then once they are done, they will submit. Once they submit, a notification will go back to the employer, also known as the client user, to then review and approve those benefits. Now, once they're approved by the employer, a notification goes to the broker, so the broker can then update the carrier that the employee made changes with. Now, those are the two most used life events for the employer. There are other ones that can be used, but again, those are the two most popular ones that the employer would use. Now, an employee, oh, I apologize. Let me go back and show you the manual. So if you forget to click that little box on those that we looked at that says create the life event, you're going to want to go to employee management, employee benefits, qualifying life event. Here, you're going to add new and you would add the event. Now, as you can see, there's all these different life events. If an employee came to you and said that they had a baby and they wanted you to kind of get the ball rolling, you can enter birth of a baby, adoption, divorces, marriage in here for the employee, which again will then send them the notification that they're eligible to make that change. However, the employee also has access to enter certain life events on their own that will then send the employee, you, the client user, notification for you to either approve or reject. So in this case, I'm just going to say that we forgot to do the employment category change. So we would say employment category change, today's date, save. That's going to send the notification to the employee. And now quickly, I'll show you what it does look like for the employee to enter a life event. Theirs is going to be called the Life Events Wizard. They won't have as many um, fields over here to choose from, but it would be under self-service, Life Events Wizard. For today's example, we use birth of a child. So we'll say today they had a baby, 325. We're going to say next. We want to make a new contact. So it would be child. We want to make sure that they are a dependent. First name, baby. Last name, Brown. It's not going to ask for the social security number, clearly because, newborns don't have one yet. So we'll leave that blank. And then today's date is their birthday, email, and then we're just going to use employee's address, save. So now that they've entered that, they will then be able to go, and it's going to look the same, back into their benefit enrollment, which will look the same. It'll say life event. They'll also get a notification, and then they'll have the option to add, edit their benefits, review and submit. And again, once it's submitted, notification goes to the employer or client user that there is something that needs to be approved or rejected. Once approved, notice goes to the broker to then process with the carrier. Please let me know if you have any other questions, and you can always reach out to your HCM specialist. Thank you.